A lifetime of cruelty. A mother who never gave love, and daughters who carried scars deep into adulthood. But when the day finally came to carve her legacy in stone, they delivered a revenge so cold, so subtle, that it will outlive her for eternity. Imagine spending your entire childhood fighting for the love of a mother who never gave it to you. Imagine every accomplishment being ignored, every mistake magnified, every word dripping with poison. Now, imagine waiting until the very end, until her name was carved in stone, to finally get the last word. This is the story of a family who turned decades of pain into one of the most savage acts of posthumous revenge you'll ever hear. But before we get to that headstone, let's rewind. Because to understand why this revenge was so devastating, you need to know the woman behind it. This family story starts with a woman we'll call Mary. To outsiders, she seemed ordinary, just another mother of four, living in a quiet neighborhood. But inside those walls, she was a storm. She knew how to twist words like knives. She thrived on playing favorites, turning her children against each other as if their love was a competition. And when it came to her daughters, oh, she had a special cruelty reserved just for them. Imagine being a little girl, coming home with a good grade, clutching your paper with pride, hoping for just one smile. One, "I'm proud of you." Instead, Mary would sneer, "Well, your brother could have done better." Now pause for a second. Can you imagine hearing that again and again? Until you start believing it? That being born a girl was already a mistake. Her daughters carried those scars for years. The self-doubt, the second-guessing, the quiet belief that maybe they just weren't good enough. And while Mary tore them down, their father, Joe, was the complete opposite. Joe was the kind of man who radiated warmth, kind, funny, patient. People loved being around him. His kids adored him. Neighbors trusted him. And honestly, no one knew how he ended up with Mary. He was sunshine, she was thunderclouds. For the daughters, he was their anchor. The one person who reminded them they weren't worthless, that they were loved, that they mattered. When Joe passed away far too soon, the family was devastated. But the kids knew one thing: his memory had to be honored. So when they bought his headstone, they poured their love into every word. Here lies Joe Blogg's loving husband, devoted father, kind brother, constant friend. It wasn't just an inscription. It was a testament, proof that his life meant something beautiful. But remember, this was only half the story. The other half was still alive, and she would outlive him by almost 2 decades. And if you're thinking maybe time softened Mary, that grief mellowed her edges, you'd be wrong. She didn't change. If anything, she doubled down. She reminded her daughters of every failure. She favored her sons, praising them while dismissing her girls. Even as adults, the daughters sat across from her at family gatherings, smiling through clenched teeth while she slipped in backhanded compliments. But here's the thing about scars. They don't just fade. They remind you every single day of what you endured. And when Mary finally passed away, her daughters were given a choice. And this is where the story shifts, from pain to payback. Mary and Joe had purchased a double plot, a shared headstone. The family assumed her name would eventually be added beside his, with the same glowing tribute. But this time, the responsibility didn't fall to Mary's golden boys. It fell to the daughters, the very ones she spent a lifetime tearing down. So when the stonecutter asked them what they wanted inscribed, they looked at each other. And in that silent exchange, decades of pain crystallized into a single savage decision. They would not rewrite history. They would not pretend their mother had been loving, supportive, or kind. They would give her exactly what she had given them: nothing. The stone was carved, the words etched forever in granite. Here lies the mortal remains of Joe Blogg's loving husband, devoted father, kind brother, constant friend, and beneath that, in smaller letters, Odds of Mary. That's it. No glowing tribute, no adjectives, no carefully crafted legacy. Just 3 words that reduced a lifetime of cruelty to an afterthought. It was brutal, it was surgical, and it was perfect. Because for years, Mary had made her daughters feel like extras in their own lives. Like background noise, like footnotes. Now, in the one place meant to immortalize her, she became exactly that. A footnote. When the daughters stood at the graveside, they felt no guilt, no hesitation, just a strange, powerful peace. For once, they had the final say. No screaming match, no bitter argument, no last cruel word from their mother's lips. Just silence, and a stone that told the truth. Visitors would stop by, see the headstone, and pause. They'd smile at Joe's legacy, at the warmth those words radiated. And then they'd see Mary's line. And in that pause, in that tiny shift of understanding, her daughters finally got justice. She spent her life making her daughters feel like they didn't matter. And now, etched in stone, the world sees her the same way. Just an afterthought. Just also Mary. A revenge so subtle, so devastating, that it will last longer than any insult she ever spoke. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it isn't fiery. Sometimes it's quiet, carved in granite, and eternal. And for these daughters, that silence was louder than any scream. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and let me know in the comments.